Ladies, love has a way of painting the world in brighter colors. It makes us hopeful, it makes us dream. But sometimes, in that glow, we overlook the shadows. We silence the small whispers inside of us that say, something doesn't feel right. And too often, those whispers are warnings, red flags we choose to ignore. There are 5 red flags women tend to overlook: lack of respect when your voice, your boundaries, and your worth are dismissed. Emotional manipulation when guilt and blame replace genuine love. One-sided effort when you are always giving, but rarely receiving. Inconsistency when promises don't align with actions. Loss of self-identity when you begin to forget who you are just to keep someone else happy. These are not small flaws. They are signals. They are the universe saying, this is not love, this is control. This is not partnership. This is imbalance. Respect is the foundation of every healthy relationship, yet it is often the very first red flag women ignore. Respect isn't just about politeness or using kind words now and then. It runs deeper than that. It shows up in how your partner listens to you, how they treat your boundaries, and how they honor your individuality. When respect is absent, it slowly erodes your confidence and convinces you that your needs, feelings, and voice do not matter. But the truth is, you deserve to be seen, heard, and valued in every moment. When a partner dismisses your thoughts or makes you feel small for sharing your opinions, that's not love. It's a lack of respect. Love thrives when 2 people are able to meet each other as equals, valuing one another's perspectives even when they disagree. If you find yourself second guessing whether you should speak up because you fear being mocked or ignored, it's a sign that respect is missing. And without it, the relationship cannot truly grow. Respect also shows in the way your boundaries are handled. Every woman has her own lines, emotional, physical, and spiritual, that deserve to be honored. A respectful partner doesn't push, guilt, or manipulate you into doing something you are uncomfortable with. They don't make fun of your boundaries or treat them as if they are inconveniences. Instead, they recognize that your boundaries are part of who you are, and they honor them because they care about your well-being. If someone is constantly overstepping or dismissing what you clearly express, it's not just a small problem, it's a flashing red flag. Another area where respect reveals itself is in how your dreams and goals are treated. The right partner should celebrate your ambitions, not belittle them. They should cheer for you when you win, encourage you when you struggle, and believe in your ability to grow. If your goals are constantly minimized, or your partner acts as though your passions don't matter, it's a warning sign. Love that lacks respect will eventually make you feel like you must shrink to make someone else comfortable, and no woman should ever feel she has to trade her dreams for affection. Many women stay in relationships where respect is missing because they hope things will change. They cling to the good moments and excuse the bad, telling themselves, maybe it's just stress, or maybe if I love harder, they'll treat me better. But here's the truth: consistent disrespect is not an accident. It's a choice. And the longer you accept it, the more it becomes the standard. Respect is not optional. It is not a bonus in a relationship. It is the foundation. Without it, love cannot survive. With it, love becomes a space where you can be your fullest self, free, valued, and celebrated. You deserve that kind of love. You deserve someone who sees you not as less, not as an accessory to their life, but as a whole, worthy human being. If respect is missing, no amount of love will make up for it. Emotional manipulation is one of the most damaging red flags in a relationship, yet it is often the hardest to recognize. Unlike obvious disrespect or outright cruelty, manipulation hides beneath carefully chosen words, subtle actions, and guilt disguised as love. It makes you question your own reality, doubt your instincts, and eventually blame yourself for problems that were never yours to carry. At its core, emotional manipulation is about control. It is a way for someone to bend you to their will while making it seem like you are the one at fault. One of the most common forms of manipulation is guilt tripping. This happens when your partner uses guilt as a weapon to get their way. Instead of respecting your choices or understanding your boundaries, they twist situations so that you feel selfish or ungrateful for saying no. For example, you may hear things like, "If you really loved me, you would do this for me," or "After everything I've done, how could you not?" Over time, this constant guilt wears you down. You start saying yes to things you don't want to do, not out of love, but out of fear of disappointing them. That is not compromise. That is manipulation. Another form is gaslighting, one of the most dangerous tools of a manipulator. Gaslighting makes you doubt your memory, your feelings, and even your sanity. You may express concern about their behavior only for them to tell you you're imagining things, or you're too sensitive. Slowly, you begin to believe them. You stop trusting your instincts. You wonder if you are the problem. But the truth is, your feelings are valid. If you feel hurt, it matters. If you feel uncomfortable, it matters. Gaslighting tries to erase your truth so that the manipulator can keep control, but your truth deserves to stand. Manipulation can also show up in the form of playing the victim. Instead of taking responsibility for their actions, a manipulative partner turns every situation into something that was done to them. They shift blame, twist stories, and leave you feeling like you must always apologize, even when you've done nothing wrong. This constant cycle traps you in a pattern where you carry the weight of both your mistakes and theirs. And eventually, you lose sight of where their responsibility ends and yours begins. The danger of emotional manipulation is that it often feels like love in disguise. A partner may claim they are acting this way because they care so much, or because they can't live without you. But love should never suffocate. Love should never force you to doubt yourself or silence your needs. Real love builds you up. It doesn't break you down. If you find yourself constantly feeling drained, confused, or guilty in your relationship, pause and ask, am I being loved or am I being controlled? True love does not manipulate. True love honors your emotions, respects your boundaries, and allows you to grow freely. Anything less is not love. It is control dressed as affection. And you deserve better than that. One-sided effort is one of the most exhausting red flags in a relationship, and yet many women stay in it far longer than they should. At first, it may not be obvious. You give your time, your energy, your love, and you don't mind because giving comes naturally when you care about someone. But after a while, you notice the imbalance. You are the one always initiating the conversations, planning the dates, fixing the problems, and carrying the emotional weight of the relationship. It begins to feel less like a partnership and more like a responsibility you shoulder alone. Love should never feel like a constant uphill climb. But one-sided effort makes it exactly that. The painful truth about one-sided relationships is that they leave you feeling invisible. You pour yourself into the other person, hoping they will eventually meet you halfway, but instead you are met with indifference or minimal effort. Maybe they show up only when it's convenient, or only when they need something from you. Maybe they never go out of their way to make you feel special, yet you constantly go the extra mile for them. This imbalance doesn't just cause disappointment. It slowly chips away at your self-worth. You begin to wonder if you're asking for too much, when in reality, you're asking for the bare minimum reciprocity. Healthy love is about balance. It's about two people showing up equally, even if not always in the same way. There will be seasons when one partner gives more because the other is struggling, but those seasons shift back and forth. In a one-sided relationship, however, the imbalance is constant. You are always the one sacrificing, compromising, forgiving, and trying harder. That's not balance. That's emotional labor disguised as love. One of the reasons women often ignore this red flag is hope. We convince ourselves that if we keep giving, eventually our partner will see our worth and start giving back. But giving more does not fix a lack of effort. It only enables it. When you constantly pick up the slack, you teach the other person that they don't have to. You train them to put in the least amount of effort while still receiving your full love and devotion. Over time, this dynamic leaves you drained, resentful, and unfulfilled. Another danger of one-sided effort is that it leaves no room for your own needs. You spend so much time caring for the relationship and your partner that you neglect yourself. Your dreams, your energy, and even your happiness start taking a back seat. You may even begin to feel guilty for wanting more, as if reciprocity is some sort of luxury instead of a basic requirement for love. But needing equal effort is not being demanding. It is being healthy. The truth is, effort is love in action. Words alone are not enough. Love is shown through consistent care, presence, and commitment. If someone truly values you, they will show it not just through promises, but through actions. You should not have to beg for attention, beg for consistency, or beg for effort. Love should not feel like pulling teeth. You deserve a relationship where your effort is matched, where you are cherished just as deeply as you cherish, and where the love you give flows back to you freely. One-sided effort is not love. It's a slow drain on your spirit. And walking away from that kind of imbalance is not failure, it's freedom. It's choosing to save your energy for someone who will meet you in the middle, not leave you standing there alone. Inconsistency is one of the most confusing red flags in a relationship because it keeps you caught between moments of hope and waves of disappointment. It feels like an emotional roller coaster. You're lifted high by sweet words, promises, and gestures, only to be dropped low when actions don't align with what was said. One day they are attentive, affectionate, and present. The next, they are distant, distracted, or unavailable. This cycle of hot and cold creates an illusion of love, but in reality, it's instability that leaves you anxious, uncertain, and always guessing where you stand. The dangerous part about inconsistency is that it often masquerades as passion. Those intense highs, the surprise messages, the heartfelt apologies, the moments when they seem fully invested, make you believe the relationship is strong. But then the lows come silence, excuses, broken plans, and promises that fade into nothing. You start clinging to the good moments, convincing yourself they reflect who the person truly is, while dismissing the rest as temporary. But the truth is, consistency is the real measure of character. Anyone can be loving sometimes. What matters is whether they show up all the time. Inconsistent partners often leave you in a state of confusion, questioning yourself instead of the relationship. You might wonder, did I do something wrong? Why are they pulling away? Maybe if I try harder, things will go back to how they were in the beginning. This self-blame traps you in a cycle where you work overtime to maintain a connection that should be mutual. But inconsistency isn't caused by you. It's a reflection of their inability or unwillingness to commit with steadiness. Another form inconsistency takes is empty promises. They say they'll change. They say they'll do better. They say they'll show up. But time passes and nothing actually shifts. Their words may sound convincing, but actions tell the truth. Love is not about what someone says they'll do. It's about what they consistently choose to do. When actions and promises don't match, it's not passion or unpredictability. It's a red flag. The effect of inconsistency on your well-being is profound. It breeds anxiety, leaving you constantly waiting for the next message, the next gesture, or the next reassurance. It keeps you hooked on potential instead of reality. You end up investing in the version of the relationship you hope for instead of the one you actually have. Over time, this erodes your sense of stability, making you dependent on unpredictable highs to feel loved and valued. The truth is, love should feel steady, not shaky. A healthy relationship gives you peace of mind, not knots in your stomach. It brings clarity, not confusion. When someone truly values you, you don't have to wonder about their feelings or intentions. They show you, day after day, through their consistency. You deserve more than fleeting moments of love. You deserve a relationship where words are backed by action, where promises are honored, and where love feels safe, secure, and unwavering. Inconsistency is not a sign of passion. It's a sign of instability. And you should never settle for uncertainty when what you deserve is certainty rooted in real, steady love. Losing yourself in a relationship is one of the most subtle yet dangerous red flags women often ignore. At first, it may feel like love, wanting to spend all your time together, adjusting to their preferences, supporting their dreams. But slowly, without realizing it, you start to fade in the background of your own life. Your hobbies, your friendships, your ambitions, even your voice begin to shrink while their world becomes the center. This red flag doesn't happen overnight. It creeps in quietly, disguised as compromise, disguised as devotion. But true love should never require you to erase who you are in order to be worthy of it. One of the first signs of losing yourself is neglecting your passions. Maybe you loved painting, writing, traveling, or simply spending time with friends. But as the relationship grows, those passions get pushed aside. You skip gatherings, you put your goals on hold, you silence your creative spark, all in the name of being available for them. At first, it may feel like sacrifice, but in the long run, it becomes self-abandonment. And when you let go of the things that make you feel alive, you also let go of the parts of yourself that make you unique. Another layer of this red flag is silencing your voice. You begin to avoid speaking up about your needs, your boundaries, or your disagreements because you don't want to upset them. You convince yourself it's easier to stay quiet than to create conflict. But silence doesn't protect love, it suffocates it. Over time, you start to lose the ability to even recognize what you truly want or how you truly feel. Your identity becomes tied only to keeping the peace, and in the process, your sense of self starts slipping away. In relationships where this red flag is present, women often feel a growing emptiness inside. On the outside, everything may look fine. You're still together, you're still showing up. But inside, you know something is missing. That missing piece is you. When you give up your dreams, your independence, and your voice, you lose the essence of what makes you whole. And no relationship, no matter how much love it claims to hold, is worth losing yourself for. It's important to remember that healthy love celebrates individuality. The right partner will never ask you to dim your light to make theirs shine brighter. They will encourage you to chase your goals, nurture your passions, and stay connected to who you are. They will respect your boundaries and love you not only for the role you play in their life, but for the fullness of your being. A strong relationship is built between two whole individuals, not one person disappearing into the shadow of the other. The greatest tragedy of losing yourself in a relationship is that you forget your own worth. You forget that before this relationship, you had a life, a purpose, and dreams that mattered. But the most empowering truth is that you can always return to yourself. You can always reclaim your identity, your passions, and your voice. Love that requires you to abandon yourself is not love. It is control. And you deserve a love that embraces all of you, not just the parts that are convenient. You are not meant to disappear in love. You are meant to shine, to grow, and to be fully, unapologetically yourself. The moment you realize you've lost pieces of who you are, Let that be your wake-up call. Because the right love will never cost you your identity. It will honor it, protect it, and help it flourish. The truth is, love is not meant to hurt. The right person will never ask you to shrink so they can shine. The right person will never make you abandon yourself in order to feel worthy of their affection. So, stop ignoring the red flags. Listen to your heart, honor your soul, and remember this: you are not asking for too much. You are only asking for the love you truly deserve. And that kind of love, the one that respects, uplifts, and celebrates you, will never require you to ignore the warning signs. Choose yourself first. Always.